what we want to talk about here on this little segment here is coaches that we think are, and really I guess you would say the temperature of these coaches entering 2026. There's going to be some coaches that we think are warming up. And warming up, as I said, somebody maybe off our radar that not many people would think about as being like, could they be on the hot seat at all? And then you got the warm category, that's warm. Simmering is going to be somebody that if this year isn't up to standard where it should be, they're definitely going to be in the hot seat into this year, going into next year. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the hot. Somebody that we know going into this season that if they don't get their act together by week 4 or 5, they're out of here. Because, we talked about, and something that I've thought about is if you could think back to yourself a year ago going into spring football, that you would say James Franklin, somebody that was 30 seconds away from driving down and getting ahead of Notre Dame and going to the national title game. Okay. And Brian Kelly, somebody that was at LSU for 2 years, like made an SEC championship game appearance, all those things that before the season was even over, they're fired.
Yeah.
You would have never in a million years thought that. So that's kind of where our conversation is going to start today, is some coaches that we think that are completely off the radar, that if things go awry, they could be in that same spot. And it's somebody you just mentioned, Michael, with Texas. In my opinion, with Steve Sarkisian, I believe he's in the same boat that James Franklin was in.
Yeah.
If you think back to that team James Franklin had, he was there and he had it where, they're about to be in the national title game, just a couple plays away from an interception and a field goal away from being in the national title game. And it seemed like last year this time that Penn State went all in with their transfers. Their quarterback was coming back. They went and got Jim Knowles. Tennessee did the same thing, but Penn State last year went and got Jim Knowles, and they brought him in. They said he's going to change your offense. They just won a national title with Ohio State, so they're going to make it happen. If you're thinking to this year with Texas, they've gone out. They've went and got an NC State transfer named Hollywood Sanders. They've went and got Cam Coleman out of Auburn. They've went and got a bunch of players, and it seems like, man, this year could be Sark's make or break it year. What do you guys think?
Well, they went and got Will Muschamp, which is going to Will Muschamp on the defensive coordinator role, which is insane. Like, that's a really good pickup for them. And I agree, man. I think Steve Sarkisian is on that kind of warming up category where you got all that oil money and you got all those boosters. You got all those boosters in Texas that are saying, "Hey, I want a national championship out of this." Yeah. So he went and got Will Muschamp, a guy that's hopefully, well, I hope not. And for my sake, I don't want them to do any better. But
take the bias off of it. Take the bias out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, if they turn it around and they do really well with Will Muschamp at defense coordinator, then I think they'll turn it around. But if they don't, then yeah, his warm category is going to turn into that simmering really fast. I agree.
Absolutely, man. What is it like his sixth season with Texas?
I think so. He started there in 2021. I guess it'd be going into his fifth.
Yeah. And you can't get no further than what you do in college football. I mean, that's pretty bad, buddy. I mean, make it to the playoff. I mean, that's
or made it to the SEC championship their first year. Texas's first year in the SEC, they made it all the way to the SEC championship. And that's why all three of us, we went down to that game. And I love those memories from that game, obviously, because it was Georgia. But I told you guys this personally. If it was Alabama playing Texas, if it was Tennessee playing Texas, I probably would have been going for either of those teams. I didn't want Texas to roll up in the SEC and win the SEC conference championship their very first year being there. I just did not want that.
Yeah. Well, so that's true, man. I'm thinking, though, like this year, I really do think that. And it's hard to say that about Sark, but I really think this really could be a make it or break it year for him. And somebody that's kind of on the same kind of pecking order to me that has been at where Sark is, just about it, where it's almost been like he's getting there, but it's just not been enough. It's getting there, but it's just not been enough. Not going to get over that hump, it seems like, is Dan Lanning from out of Oregon. What do you guys think about him? I mean, I think he's somebody, like I said, that he went and I think he won the Big Ten last year, and not this past year, the year before when Ohio State won the whole national title. But they won the Big Ten. They got to where they wanted to go, which is in the Rose Bowl. They were the number one ranked team. They were undefeated that year. Everything, it seemed like it was going for them, and got their doors blown off against Ohio State. And then last year, kind of that same thing. They got all the way to Atlanta with Indiana. Didn't do nothing. I mean, just literally got just embarrassed. I mean, to put it lightly. So it's almost like he keeps getting almost there, but just can't get over that hump. So I wonder how much he's going to be having and saying, okay, I know you're good. I know you're getting us there, but we want to get past that next level. If it doesn't go right for them this year, could he be that next one too? What do you think about it, Chunk?
Well, we talked about, I mean, he seems like a consistent coach, Adam, like consistently, but you can only be so much consistent until you have to execute.
That's right.
And if he doesn't eventually execute, then I could see him, simmering real fast. His seat will be getting hot. I think he's safe right now until something happens. And I'm eager to see what happens next year with Oregon. Are they going to go as far as they did this past season? We don't know. But if he don't, I know that seat's going to be getting hot on his tail.
Yeah.
If he don't turn it around and do something, execute. So
that's right. Well, while you're talking, what do you think about Michael? We're going next one. What do you think about Dan Lanning?
I don't know. I think Dan Lanning's probably another one of those guys, like you say, but he recruits really well, but it's just a matter of winning the big one, and he hasn't done that. And I saw a video kind of during this playoff season. Of course, they had to play Indiana, which isn't a very easy task. And Indiana, and not Indiana, but the Oregon fans were in the stands, and they were like, man, here we go again. Here we go again. We're losing again. We're never going to make it to the big one. But they had to play Indiana. So it's not like they ought to be okay with that. But
not this playing cupcake.
Yeah.
Well, that's my biggest thing. I think but you got to think now, these are the coaches that we're talking about. You say Dan Lanning, that's crazy. Well, everybody would have said James Franklin was crazy last year. Everybody would have said firing Brian Kelly before their bye week was crazy last year. So these are just coaches that are off the rails, off the radar, I'd say, on who we think could be on that hot seat going into maybe next year if they don't get it done this year. And Chunk, share that one that you talked about. Maybe that's so close to home.
Oh yeah, I know. I know it kind of shocked you whenever I mentioned it to you, but I know it's going to probably make some Tennessee fans mad on here. But I can't help but think, and I hate to throw our own coach under the bus, but Josh Heupel, man. I mean, he came in here when they hired him, dude. We won, bowl game. We went to the playoffs. And then we bomb at 8-5. Being a Tennessee fan, man. Bombing like that all the time, it sucks. I'm tired of that. I want to go to the playoff consistently every year. I want to win a national championship and not take since 1998, 99. My God, man, let's turn Tennessee around. A lot of fire under your tail. And like I said, I hate to say that about Josh Heupel, but I can foresee him being simmering here soon. If we bomb next year, it's going to suck. I can see them putting him, eventually the hot seat is coming for him, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and this year too, you can't blame it on Nico. Last year with the whole Nico situation going into even spring last year, that was a debacle. But this year, man, if it goes the same way and you're not as good as where you want to be, you're going to have nobody to blame it on but Heupel at this point.
Absolutely. You can only blame so many people, you know what I'm saying? So
that's right. But this was somebody Michael actually brought up talking about offensive-minded coach is actually on the simmering category. So remember, that's somebody that is kind of in that warm category, but that if they don't get it together this season, this could really be the make-or-break season right here. And the guy that Michael brought up was Lincoln Riley. What do you think about him, Michael?
Well, I feel like USC kind of went after Lincoln Riley because of his success at Oklahoma, but he's been there since the 2022 season. In 2022, he went 11-3, which is not bad, but in 2023, he went 8-5, 24, he went 7-6, and then this past season, he went 9-4, losing to TCU in the Alamo Bowl at the end of the season. And I gotta feel like a program like USC is not content with losing in the Alamo Bowl to TCU. So to me, I feel like that's a guy that's definitely in the Simmering category because, man, a program like USC didn't go get you from Oklahoma for you to be losing to TCU in the Alamo Bowl. So regardless of whatever the stuff around that game was, maybe they had some starters sitting out and stuff, which I wouldn't doubt. But yeah, because it's just a bowl game that nobody cares about. But still, you go 9-4 at a program like that. That's not a good look. So I think that's definitely one of those guys that are for sure on that Simmering category. Where if he doesn't get it together and he doesn't get his program like a consistent playoff team, like Chunk was talking with Tennessee, then yeah, he's going to be more than that Simmering category for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you too, man. It's just I don't know. Like USC used to be a powerhouse team, man. I mean, do you guys remember Reggie Bush? Yeah. I mean, where's the Reggie Bushes at? What have they turned around there? Where are the studs like that at coming out of USC?
Hey, they had Zachariah Branch.
Yeah, Zachariah.
He left from Georgia.
See
Zachariah and Zion Branch, both the brothers, come from USC. They said, "Hey, man, this program's not going anywhere. Let me go to Georgia."
I mean, you got to keep
those on. Yeah.
I mean, you can't let talent like that go, guys. No. I mean, that's what helps the program here.
Which is the big reason that he's in our Simmering category right now. Because, man, you let talent like that go. What are they in the Pac-12 or something? I don't know what.
No, they're in the Big Ten.
Big Ten?
Yeah.
USC's in the Big Ten?
Yeah. Pac-12's gone, buddy. I mean, get with the program here.
So Pac-12's gone.
I'm surprised you still remember Reggie Bush, man.
So, yeah.
You remember that Washington, Oregon, USC, all of them come over.
So they're not even being a contender for their own conference championship, let alone making it to the playoffs.
Right. Well, if you thought back to your first point there, whenever he had Caleb Williams, yeah, they were kind of in that picture of like they were in the picture of the Pac-12 title contention, and then I think they got beat by Utah that year. But you got to think the reason he was so good, man. Look, he had a quarterback, Caleb Williams. I mean that cat, son, he was different. But yeah, their biggest problem has been quarterback too, consistency. And you thought that with like a Josh Heupel, with a Lincoln Riley, these type of coaches that. It didn't matter who you threw out there. You're going to have a great quarterback, but it just hasn't happened for them the past few years at USC. So that's been the biggest problem that he's really had. And that's what kind of just brings us talking about Lincoln Riley, brings us to our next guy. That when Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma, Brent Venables came in. And if you remember back last year, Brent Venables was more on like a hot seat talk. He was talked about, can he really make the step? Can he make the next move? And yes, they went to the playoff. But what if they don't this year? That's my thing. That when talking about coaches in this Simmering category, they were already ready to do something going into last year. But if John Mateer and that offense just doesn't progress like it was at the beginning of the season, then I mean you can blame it on a lot of Mateer's hand. You could do a lot of that. I know and understand that. But it does seem like maybe Brent Venables could be in that same category of like, is he getting ready to be on that hot seat if he can't take the next step this season? To make them a true contender that when you get the playoffs and you're up 17 points, you can't bring it home. I mean, as a St. Alabama fan, I'm thanking God they did not. But I'm saying that you can't bring it home when you're up 17 points. I mean, there's a problem there. And it all starts with the head man.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about him?
Well, while you're at home, too, like you say, they had that home slot, which is really good. I feel like every team that has that home playoff game really ought to utilize that to the best of their advantage. And like you say, they had Alabama at home. They had beaten them in the regular season away, but they couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done after being up 17-0. And now I think a bunch of people have him in that Simmering category as well as us because, you got to think about what he's going to do this coming season. Is he going to be a guy that goes out there and gets these guys kind of going in the right direction, or is it going to be a kind of dwindle out season like he had this past year? Because making the playoffs is great. That's absolutely great. But you go to the playoffs and you lose is not a good thing. Like Georgia's lost the Sugar Bowl the last 2 years in a row. And that doesn't set well with us. So I couldn't imagine how Oklahoma feels. As a matter of fact, I think we saw a stat you and I talked about a stat with Oklahoma, and this is before Brent Venables' time there as well. But they've made the playoffs five times. I think they've made the playoffs 5 times, and they're 0-5.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
They never had won a playoff game. That's right.
Never. After making it 5 times. So I know that entire program, that fan base, everybody wants something to change. And if it doesn't, Brent Venables will be the next one on the chopping block.
Yeah, that's where it all starts, buddy.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Chunk? What's your opinion about Brent Venables?
Absolutely. I agree 100% there. Just when you go to the playoffs like that, that's that expectation, that standard that you set for your team. And if you don't keep meeting that expectation, he's out the door, guys. He's out the door. So I agree with you there. 100%. So
yeah, I really think that he could be on his way out. And what's scary about that, for your sake, that let's say Heupel does have a good year, if Venables goes, that's my first call.
Yeah.
Oh, Heupel. So
Oh yeah. No
I don't know. It's kind of like a do you want it, do you not type of thing. But somebody else I'm thinking, last coach I'm thinking about in the Simmering category tonight was Dabo Swinney. What do you guys think about what Dabo Swinney has done? We know that Dabo has always been great. Man, went to the national title, won a couple against my team, Alabama. He was ACC champion for years running, all those things. But I think Michael kind of alluded to it last week, talking about how he's just not willing to change and maybe come into the new way of college football, the new wave. And what hurts him is like when he tries to dip his toe, that you got somebody like Pete Gold that comes in there and tries to take his players that are in class. All these things going on. I don't think he loves the way college ball is going right now, but I just think really not even talking about the exterior things. I'm talking about on the field. It doesn't seem like he's where it needs to be right now.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to build a statue of Dabo. We know that. Dabo's been great. But when you, like me and Michael, have seen, coming from experience of winning national titles, that is your standard. It's not to come in and be competitive. Good is not good enough.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be elite every single year. So when the Clemson fans are used to being in the playoffs, they're used to winning championships, they're used to all the glory and all the goodness that college football brings, and you're going and just putting out a team that really just doesn't work on a consistent basis and is losing to teams that really talent for talent, they shouldn't even be in the same category. Yeah. Like Louisville going out there, I think it was last year or the year before, and just getting boat raced. When that should never happen to Clemson. When they just get beat and it's almost inexplicable. So that's kind of my thought on Dabo. What's your guys' thought?
Well, you know what? That guy should have already been out the door, man. I believe he's paying somebody to stay there, he can't be. There's only one Nick Saban. He can't be Nick Saban. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Clemson Tiger fans are feeling like us Vol fans used to feel. Like I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired. When are we going to get back to Clemson football? You know what I'm saying? And, that's my opinion on it. When is Clemson going to be Clemson again?
Yeah.
And how much longer are they going to let this drag out, man?
Yeah. And he wants to, that guy right there, he wants to live and die on the same hill that he's kind of built up. He has, and he's been a great coach. He's built this hill up. But you can't live and die on that. When the landscape of college football changes and evolves like it has over the last 5 years, not even 5, it's been sooner than that. The last 3 to 4 years, college football has changed immensely. So Kirby Smart has to jump on board with that if he wants to plan on staying being Georgia's head coach. Every coach has to evolve with it. If you don't, you're left in the dust. But like you say, he does evolve with it, and you got a guy over there at Ole Miss that just kind of goes in there and plucks his player right out of class. So that kind of stuff isn't cool either. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, well, it's not, but it really shouldn't happen. I think the NCAA is trying to put a good stop to it, but you got to work with what you got. And like he said when he had that big press conference talking about it, it's happening to everybody. And even though he came out and he's the one that said something about it, it's going on absolutely everywhere. So I know that sometimes they say you have to evolve or you die. You evolve or you die. You're either evolving or you're dying. And I don't know if Dabo is evolving. It feels more like that program and that team is dying every day.
Yeah.
So if there needs to be a change, it does start with the head man, which is sad to say. I love Dabo. I love what he stands for and as a person. But, man, when it comes to production on the field, that's where it all comes in.
It just feels like they're spinning their wheels in the mud, Adam. Like you always say, they're
and
not
they ain't going nowhere.
They're not going nowhere.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, but I'll tell you somebody that is going somewhere this year, I do believe. Amen. But that's going to be in our hot category. And we'll start out tonight with somebody. I think if you watch college football and you know anything about it, the one team that you could say that he's probably done is Mike Norvell at Florida State. Okay.
Yeah.
Going into last year, I believe he was 5-7 last year. Year before that, he was 2-10, I think. I mean, they did beat Alabama. They got hang their hat on that, but last year. But he's a guy that they did have that one spurt in 2023 where they or 2024. I'm sorry, but they looked great. They looked really good, and they thought they really had it. But ever since then, that was 2023. I apologize, but whenever they thought that they had it, then they just can't seem to get over that hump now. And he's the one that where Dabo doesn't want to dip his toe at all in the portal. He wants to recruit from high school. Mike Norvell has almost the complete opposite approach. That he builds his team through the portal, and that we can see that. I've heard that it more or less is because of his buyout that he wasn't fired this past year, and they're giving him this one season. But they made the change at offensive coordinator from Gus Malzahn. He's now gone. They're losing their quarterback. They were hoping to get back, and so what is he going to do? And me and Chunt were talking in the car, and their schedule absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, their first 6 games, he could easily just win 2 games out of 6. Yeah. He could be 2-6 right off the bat. And if you start the season out like that, listen to me good. He's going. Okay, he's going.
Yeah. He'll be fired halfway through the season.
Go ahead and start a GoFundMe, Mike Norvell. You need it, buddy.
Not with that buyout. I'll tell you what, not with that buyout.
He'll be fired halfway through the season, I think, because he's not going into Tuscaloosa. He is not going into Tuscaloosa and beating Alabama after the way they started the regular season. And really, you guys can kind of hang your hat on that. Y'all saved Mike Norvell's job this year. The biggest win of his entire season this past season was that game, that week 1 game. Yeah. But we're all in the tri-state area, hence our name, Tri-State Tailgate. But in the tri-state area, we had that cold front come in not long ago, and people were talking about how, man, look how freezing cold it is, and everywhere, even South Georgia. But it did not get to that Tallahassee, Florida, line. And they said that's because Mike Norvell's seat is so hot that it's warm in the whole area. His seat is so hot.
Yeah, that's right. It's bad. I mean, really, if he doesn't do something, it has to be immediate. I think they have a cupcake. I can't remember who exactly it was, but then they go to SMU. And then I think they play another cupcake before they come to Tuscaloosa. And then after that, they played, who was it? I know Miami was in there, Virginia. Right out the gate. Virginia should win the ACC. Yeah, they did them no favors. And that's the number one. Like, if you watch college football, that name, Mike Norvell. He's more than likely on the hot seat. So
I'm starting to sweat just thinking about it. It's getting hot in here, buddy.
Right, that's right. Don't take off your clothes, okay? But next one we'll talk about here on the hot seat out of just the 3 we have tonight is somebody in the SEC is Shane Beamer. That's a team in South Carolina that they do have Lenore Sellers coming back, but their schedule does them no favors at all. The way they start out the season, it does not look good. And the reason you really bring these guys up and the reason you say they can be gone by week 4 or 6, if you guys remember that the way the transfer portal window is, the way the recruiting window is, all these coaching firings are happening so early that the team can already have a coach in place for the recruits and for the portal and all these things. You can't wait no more till after the season to fire a coach because you'll miss a recruiting class. You'll miss all these things that just won't happen because you don't have a coach. Yeah. So that's why I think if Shane Beamer doesn't get off to the hot start, especially with Lenore Sellers, that is a talent that South Carolina cannot waste in Lenore Sellers. if they can't get off to a hot start, he's somebody really you could say in week 4, 5, 6 that, sad to say, you could see him gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what'd they go 4-8 last year? I mean, hey, listen to this. Hey, their signature win last year, Virginia Tech. I mean, come on, man. Come on, Shane.
Yeah.
I mean, he started coaching good, but now he's in the same situation right now that we're in with Josh Heupel is can you take us there again, you know?
Yeah. Well, it felt like he was kind of building towards that peak they had where they were knocking on the playoff door, not last year, but the year before. They were knocking on the door. But it felt like he was building towards that. And last year, and then what looks to be coming down the line this upcoming year, if it doesn't go right, he could be on the hot seat very easily.
Yeah. He's another one of those guys I think may be out pretty soon. He doesn't have a bad slate. You got Kent State to start the season. Towson Tigers, they're coming there. Then you got Mississippi. Then you get into conference play. You got Mississippi State, Alabama, Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and I mean Texas A&M, Arkansas, Georgia's back on their schedule. So yeah, by the end of the season, and then they finish with Clemson, and that's the battle of the two guys that are probably maybe losing their job.
Let me ask you this right now: can you predict will Dabo Swinney and Shane Beamer both be in that game?
I don't think both of those guys will be in the game.
Will either of them be in that game?
It may be neither, but I think one of the two for sure. You can count it right here on the Tri-State Tailgate podcast that one of those two will not be the head coach of that program
if not both.
If not both. If not both.
I mean, go ahead and get the buyouts ready, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're out here by week 4.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Look, if you look at this right here, the buyouts. I was looking at this I think it was in 2025. We'll just do right here in 2025. It was Sam Pittman nearly $10 million, Hugh Freeze $16 million, Billy Napier $21 million, Mark Stoops $38 million, and Brian Kelly $54 million. That's nearly $120 million in buyout money.
Tell
me where to go and what door you want me out of. All right.
That teams were okay with paying. Were okay with paying just to get onto their next coach. Like LSU is throwing money every way. LSU threw money at Brian Kelly. That was a bust. They kind of got rid of a guy with Ed Ogeron, who I thought might not have been a bad place to stay, but they got rid of him to get Brian Kelly. And now they went after Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin's another guy that they're just throwing money at. So I don't know. I mean, they're what is the education? There's some sort of education rate that's in LSU or the state of Louisiana that isn't very high, but God forbid they're going to try their best to have a good college football team. I tell you that. They're not going to dump the money in academics.
They're going to dump it right there to get them Tigers going. We're going to get them Tigers going. Yeah, that's what they are, man. But, I mean, what just – it boggles my mind. And we're going to look back on this episode probably and say, man, we didn't even talk about them. And they're not with the team at the end of the season.